are hours into the protest, and counter-protesters are starting to arrive from Freedom Plaza here at Lafayette, and they're still waiting on the white supremacists to arrive. Now, I spoke to the women after the meeting, and they said that both senators agreed to look at Kavanaugh through a full lens, including on the ACA. There are 5 categories in the competition: personal interview, on-stage question, fitness wear, evening wear, and talent. And after they do everything on stage on Saturday, they'll have to do it again tomorrow in front of a live audience. FEMA released a statement saying that the reason that they're taking away this aid is because there's no longer an emergency need for it in Puerto Rico. But people at the Puerto Rican Cultural Center don't think the same thing. Police say witnesses and this camera prove that the mother did not leave until her 5.5-hour hair appointment was over, and by then it was too late and her baby was dead. Melissa Schroeder maxes out on her health care insurance every year. Her son Tyler has a form of congenital heart disease, and caring for his needs costs hundreds of thousands of dollars.
This is all just maintaining his health where it's at. And unfortunately, it does cost a lot of money.
So when President Trump announced Judge Brett Kavanaugh as his next pick for the Supreme Court, she started to worry for the future of her son's health.
Will he have access to health care? Will he not? And it's not just Tyler, it's children in North Dakota living with disabilities.
And she came to Washington to speak with Senators Heitkamp and Hoeven on behalf of North Dakota's kids. Joining her was Chrissy Wolf, whose sons are both on the autism spectrum. Wolf says she wants her senators to protect the ACA because her sons wouldn't be the same without it.
He wouldn't be as far as he was if we didn't have that health care coverage. It's been vital in his quality of life.
Now, I spoke to the women after the meeting, and they said that both senators agreed to look at Kavanaugh through a full lens, including on the ACA, and that they're preparing for what might happen if Kavanaugh is confirmed for SCOTUS. But one thing they do agree on is that no matter what, their children's health will come first.
We will roll with the punches as they come, if it comes. That's what we've always done. But I hope that today, being here talking to our senators and hearing the stories, that we actually won't have to ever have that conversation.
From Washington, D.C., Ashley Graham, KVRR Local News. 25-year-old Maya Pitts is a Chicago native. She dances. She works with the Boys and Girls Club of Chicago. And she's this year's reigning Miss Black Illinois. She competed last weekend for her first national title at the Miss Black USA pageant, the oldest scholarship pageant for women of color in the country. And her family and friends drove all the way from Illinois to cheer her on.
She wanted to do this for so long, and she made it here. So I know that that's really important, that she actually made it here too. Even if she does win, and even if she doesn't win, she still is going to take a piece of this back with herself.
While Maya didn't walk away with the Miss Black USA title, she still got to see her platform in action.
The most important thing in our communities is representation, and oftentimes we don't have representation in pageants for people of color, for women of color.
I think it's pretty refreshing to see someone that is just the same as you on the outside to just be in something so big.
Maya says she won't stop working to help young girls of color feel represented in experiences like pageants.
They don't really see someone like me, everyday life, working in the community on the west side of Chicago, being a part of a pageant. And so for them, it's like, wait, we know someone who's in a pageant. A lot of young girls are not used to seeing it, but now it's becoming something that in different pageants, different platforms, Black women, women of color in general, are being represented in different pageants all around the world.
And for Maya, that's a win all on its own. For the Illinois Channel in Washington, I'm Ashley Graham. It's been 4 months since Puerto Rico was devastated by Hurricane Maria, and while relief is still pouring in, that could change as early as this week. FEMA released a statement saying that the reason that they're taking away this aid is because there's no longer an emergency need for it in Puerto Rico. But people at the Puerto Rican Cultural Center don't think the same thing.
FEMA has really been an obstacle rather than a solution for Puerto Rico.
Executive Director Jose Lopez says that most of the progress on the island was not made by FEMA, but by the civilians on the ground and in cities like Chicago.
We go there and we lend aid to the people who are already organizing all of the relief efforts.
Civilians like Danielle Colby, an artist who is going back to Puerto Rico this week to help with relief efforts. She says FEMA was never supposed to be the final solution for Puerto Rico.
Their job is to basically go in there and assess damage and report back to the government.
FEMA cited that the grocery stores, transportation systems, and gas stations in Puerto Rico are operable enough that they could pull out the emergency aid. Lopez says otherwise.
About 45% of Puerto Rico does not have running water, does not have electricity. People are stranded in areas where bridges have been destroyed. Nothing has been rebuilt.
No matter what FEMA decides to do, there is still more work to be done in Puerto Rico. In Humboldt Park, Ashley Graham, Medill reports.